Why are you sending my father through the service elevator when our invitation just turned green? Caleb Reed asked. The marble lobby seemed to tighten around his small voice. CO Vanessa Whitmore still had one arm pointed toward the gray staff-only doors when Claire Hargrove pulled Marcus's worn canvas bag from his shoulder. A metal struck the floor and spun beneath the chandelier. Vanessa's daughter ran forward, lifted it with both hands, and whispered, "Mom, this is his." 3 hours earlier, Marcus had stood beneath the fluorescent lights of a freight elevator repair room across town, wiping hydraulic oil from his fingers while cold air slipped through the loading bay door. His navy work jacket smelled faintly of steel, machine grease, and the peppermint gum Caleb always tucked into the pocket for him. Marcus checked the time, closed his toolbox, and reread the message on his old phone. Caleb Reed, winner of the Young Voices Essay Award, invited to read at the Whitmore Crown Hotel Gala. Caleb had written about him. Marcus knew only the title because his son had folded the pages whenever he came near. "It's supposed to be a surprise," the 9-year-old had said. Marcus had finished the emergency repair, declined the supervisor's offer to stay for overtime, and changed into the clean white shirt he kept behind the truck seat. There had been no time to replace his work boots or scrub the dark line of oil beneath one thumbnail. Caleb noticed it in the parking lot and held out a damp napkin. "People might think you came to fix something." Marcus smiled and let him clean the thumb. "Then they'll know I work for a living." The hotel lobby smelled of polished stone, white lilies, and perfume too expensive to have a name on the bottle. Guests moved beneath the chandeliers in dark suits and bright gowns while staff members carried silver trays between them. Caleb slowed beside the glass doors, his fingers tightening around the folded essay in his pocket. Marcus placed a hand between his shoulder blades, not pushing, only reminding him he was there. At the reception desk, Caleb held his printed invitation beneath the scanner. Clear green light flashed. His name appeared on the monitor beside the words award recipient. For 1 second, relief lifted his face. Then Claire Hargrove stepped between them and the screen. Her cream suit was flawless, her smile soft enough to sound kind. "There appears to be a verification issue." "It said valid," Caleb replied. "Systems make mistakes." Her fingers moved across the keyboard. Behind the folder she had raised, the green status vanished and amber letters appeared. "Review required." Marcus watched her hand rather than her smile. "Please check it again," he said. "My son earned his place here." Claire glanced at his boots, then at the canvas bag on his shoulder. "Of course, we simply have different access routes for vendors and service personnel." "I'm not a vendor." "Then this will only take a moment." Vanessa Whitmore approached with board members and donors gathering around her. She did not ask to see the invitation. Her eyes passed over Marcus's faded jacket, Caleb's inexpensive shoes, and the metal edge of a wrench visible inside the unzipped bag. "Claire, keep the main elevators clear," she said. Then she pointed toward the service corridor. Caleb pulled out his invitation, but Nolan Price placed a broad hand in front of him. "Wait here until an appropriate guardian is confirmed." The paper trembled once in Caleb's grip. Marcus moved between his son and the phones already rising around them. "Look at me, son. Their mistake does not become your shame." Claire reached for the bag, saying she needed to confirm Marcus carried no restricted tools. He loosened his shoulder rather than let her pull him into a struggle. The strap slipped. The old metal fell, struck the marble with a sharp metallic note, and spun across the floor. Lily Whitmore broke from her mother's side before any adult could stop her. She knelt, lifted the blue and gold ribbon, and turned the metal beneath the light. Claire extended her hand. "Give that to security, Lily." But the 10-year-old did not move. Her thumb had found the half-moon scratch cut into the metal beside the engraved name M. Reed. She looked at the metal, then at an old photograph glowing on her mother's phone, and whispered, "It has the same scar." Vanessa's eyes moved from the half-moon scratch to the photograph on her phone, but Claire stepped between mother and daughter before the silence could deepen. "Lily, hand it over." "But Mom has the same picture." Security will verify it. Claire unfolded a white evidence pouch with the careful smile of someone wrapping a gift, then held it open without touching the metal directly. Beneath the chandelier, the blue and gold ribbon looked faded against Lily's small hands, and the engraved name M. Reed caught the light before disappearing into the pouch. Vanessa watched the seal close, her jaw tightening at something she had not yet decided to believe. "Mr. Reed," Claire said, "we are going to clear this up discreetly. Then start with my son's invitation. We are already reviewing it." Her voice remained warm, almost apologetic, but she angled her body so Marcus could no longer see the reception monitor. Caleb stood beside him with the folded essay pressed against his ribs, while donors passed slowly enough to listen without appearing to stop. A man in a black tuxedo glanced at Marcus's work boots and whispered to his wife that the hotel should have moved maintenance arrivals before the gala. The wife looked at Caleb, then lowered her voice. Maybe the boy came with him. Marcus heard every word. He did not turn toward them. He reached down and straightened Caleb's crooked collar, smoothing the fabric with the same oil-darkened thumb his son had tried to clean in the parking lot. "Dad," Caleb whispered, "I am on the list." "I know. Then why are they acting like I'm not?" Marcus held his gaze until the boy's breathing slowed. The lobby continued around them with the soft clink of glasses and the distant pulse of piano music, but the space between father and son felt still. "Because some people trust a screen only when it tells them what they already believe," Marcus said. Claire returned to the keyboard. "There may have been an administrative mismatch." "It showed my name," Caleb said. "The final list is different from the preliminary file." "Can you show us the final list?" Marcus asked. Claire's smile did not move. "Guest information is confidential." On the monitor behind her shoulder, Caleb's name no longer appeared under award recipient. A yellow box now read "Review Required," and beneath it sat a smaller gray line. Status modified 7:42 p.m. Marcus looked toward the brass clock above the desk. It was 7:44. Vanessa followed his eyes, but Claire closed the window before she could read the smaller line. "We should not hold the lobby," Claire said. "Mr. Reed and the child can wait in the service corridor until we confirm the appropriate arrangements." Caleb flinched at the word child, as though even his name had become too inconvenient to use. He unfolded the first page of his essay, showing the embossed seal of the Young Voices Foundation. Claire barely glanced at it. "Documents can be printed anywhere." The sentence was soft, professional, and sharp enough to make Caleb fold the page again. This time he pressed the crease so hard that the word bravest split down the middle. Marcus took the paper gently before the boy could hide it. He laid it on the marble counter and smoothed each corner with his palm. "Could someone print my son another copy?" he asked the receptionist. The young woman looked toward Claire before touching the keyboard. "Not until verification is complete," Claire answered for her. A guest approached Marcus from behind and placed a $5 bill beside his hand. "When you're finished here, could you take our luggage to 17? Marcus looked at the bill, then at the man's expectant face. He picked it up, folded it once, and returned it without anger. "I'm here to hear my son read." The man's cheeks reddened. Marcus spared him further embarrassment by turning away first. Near the glass entrance, Evelyn Brooks struggled with a mop bucket, one sleeve of her gray uniform dark with rainwater from the doorway. The air conditioning raised gooseflesh along her forearms. Marcus removed his navy work jacket and placed it around her shoulders. "Sir, I can't take this." "You can until you're dry." Vanessa saw the exchange. For the first time, she looked past Marcus's boots and studied his face, but suspicion remained behind her eyes. Claire noticed the look and spoke quickly. "Ma'am, people sometimes perform kindness when they know they are being watched." Marcus said nothing. Evelyn lowered her voice as she handed him a paper towel for the rain on his sleeve. "Check the inspection plate by the service car," she murmured. "They covered something red this morning." Marcus glanced toward the gray elevator doors. Beneath the polished silver inspection label, one torn corner of an older sticker remained visible, and the date printed on the new label was 3 weeks later than the date stamped into the metal beneath it. Marcus kept his eyes on the torn red edge beneath the newer inspection label. The metal plate had been polished, but not carefully enough to erase the older date stamped underneath. He did not touch it. Not yet. He only listened as the service elevator settled behind its gray doors with a faint, uneven knock, 3 soft taps where there should have been 1. Caleb tugged gently at his shirt cuff. "Are we leaving?" Marcus looked down at the folded essay in his son's hands, then toward Claire, who was still speaking to Vanessa in the quiet language of procedure and appearances. "Not until they put your name back where it belongs." His voice carried no challenge, only certainty. Evelyn shifted inside Marcus's navy jacket, embarrassed by the attention it drew. "You need this more than I do," she said. "I have another shirt in the truck." He did not. The night air outside was dropping, and his rent payment was due in 4 days, along with the fee for Caleb's after-school program. Overtime would have helped. Still, he pulled the jacket more securely around Evelyn's shoulders and tucked the wet sleeve beneath the dry one. His late wife, Renee, used to say that kindness mattered most when it cost something small enough that nobody else noticed. Marcus had never told Caleb how often those small things added up. Claire glanced toward him and gave Vanessa a patient smile. "He is delaying because he knows the crowd is watching." Marcus heard her. He also saw the way Evelyn's hand tightened around the jacket collar, as if kindness had become evidence against him. Rather than answer, he picked up the paper towel she had given him and crouched near the inspection plate. He wiped a thin line of water from the floor before someone slipped, then pressed the damp towel against the corner of the newer label. The adhesive lifted slightly, revealing more of the red sticker beneath. Partial word appeared out. Claire crossed the marble quickly, heels clicking in precise beats. "Please do not tamper with hotel property. I'm cleaning water off the floor. Then allow staff to handle it." Marcus stood and folded the towel into his palm. "Your staff member was already handling enough." Claire's eyes flicked toward Evelyn wearing his jacket. The look lasted less than a second, but it was enough to make Evelyn lower her gaze. Marcus noticed and stepped half a pace to the side, blocking Claire's line of sight without making the movement obvious. He did not expose what Evelyn had whispered. He did not mention the label. He only slipped the damp paper towel into a trash bin and returned to Caleb. At the security desk, the sealed evidence pouch containing his medal rested beneath a white lamp. The blue and gold ribbon was twisted inside the plastic, and the half-moon scratch caught the light whenever Nolan moved past it. Marcus reached toward the pouch, then stopped before touching it. "That belongs to my father," Caleb said. Nolan answered without looking up. "It is being verified. Will he get it back? If everything checks out." Caleb's fingers curled around Marcus's hand. "You said Grandma gave it to you." Marcus nodded. After Renee died, his mother had placed the medal in the old canvas bag because she was afraid he would lose every reminder that he had once done something worth surviving. He had kept it hidden there, beneath spare gloves and a rusted flashlight, not because he wanted anyone to see it, but because some days the weight of it reminded him that fear could be carried without being obeyed. A sharp chime sounded from the main elevator. Then came a metallic slam. Lily Whitmore froze beside the column near the glass doors. Her face emptied of color. She stared at the closing elevator, seem as if something behind it had called her name. "Lily," Vanessa said. The girl did not answer. Her breathing shortened, shoulders rising with each shallow breath. Guests moved around her without understanding, and one woman lifted her phone, perhaps thinking the child was about to faint. Marcus released Caleb's hand only after feeling his son nod. He approached slowly and stopped several feet away. "Lily, may I come closer?" Her eyes found him but did not focus. Vanessa stepped forward. "She needs her medication." The caregiver searched through a leather bag, spilling tissues and a silver comb onto the floor. Marcus lowered himself until he was level with Lily. "Look at the buttons on my shirt," he said. "There are 4. We only need 4 breaths." Caleb quietly brought over the chair he had been standing beside and set it behind her. Then he unscrewed the cap from his water bottle and held it out. Lily took it with both hands. A small silver bracelet slipped from her wrist and landed beneath the chair. Caleb picked it up. The charm was shaped like a lighthouse. Marcus saw the broken clasp on the left side, and for 1 second the hotel disappeared. He remembered black water, a child crying inside twisted metal, and a tiny silver light tangled in a rescue strap. He pushed the memory back and kept his eyes on Lily. "One breath," he said. "Good. Now another." Her shoulders lowered. The phones around them began to drop. Vanessa watched in silence as Marcus shifted his body to shield Lily from the guests, giving the child privacy instead of attention. When Lily finally breathed without shaking, Claire arrived and said, "Mr. Reed, you should not have approached her without authorization." Marcus stood slowly. She was asking for air, not authorization. Claire turned to Vanessa. "He may be creating familiarity because of the metal." Lily looked up at her mother before Vanessa could answer. Caleb placed the bracelet in her palm, and Marcus noticed the half-moon bend in its clasp matched the scar on the metal sealed across the lobby. Then Lily whispered, "Mom, he knew where it was broken." "He knew where it was broken," Lily repeated, closing her fingers around the lighthouse bracelet. Vanessa's gaze moved from the bent clasp to Marcus, but Claire answered before she could. "Children connect details when they are frightened. I wasn't frightened when he saw it." "Lily, that is enough." The words were quiet, yet they carried the polished finality of a boardroom decision. Vanessa rested a hand on her daughter's shoulder and asked Nolan to move everyone into the security office, away from the guests now pretending not to stare. The room behind the lobby was narrow and cold, lit by white ceiling panels that flattened every face. 6 security monitors covered one wall. On another, the sealed evidence pouch lay beneath a desk lamp, Marcus's metal visible through the cloudy plastic. Caleb sat beside his father, holding the wrinkled essay on his knees. Lily remained near the door with her mother, still rubbing the damaged clasp between her thumb and forefinger. Claire stood at the head of the table as though the room belonged to her. "Let us establish what we actually know," she said. Mr. Reed arrived with tools, disputed his access status, approached Miss Whitmore during a medical episode, and carried an item resembling a rescue medal. "It is a rescue medal," Nolan said, "resembling one until verified." Marcus did not defend himself. He looked at the pouch, then at the phone Vanessa held face down against the table. "You have a photograph," he said. Vanessa's fingers tightened. "My daughter said you did." Lily should not have mentioned it. But she did. Claire folded her hands. "Public photographs from Hurricane Rowan have circulated for years. Anyone could study them." Her explanation was reasonable enough to make the room colder. Marcus had repaired equipment in buildings where men lied loudly and in buildings where they lied with perfect manners. The second kind usually lasted longer. Vanessa unlocked her phone and opened a private album. She turned the screen toward Nolan, not Marcus. The photograph was dim and grainy, taken beneath hospital lighting 8 years earlier. A medal rested beside a folded blanket, its ribbon darkened by water. Only part of the engraving was visible. The half-moon scratch was not. Marcus leaned slightly, letting the desk lamp strike the phone at an angle. "Tilt it toward the light," he said. Claire exhaled. "Mr. Reed, please do not direct this examination." Nolan tilted the phone anyway. A pale crescent appeared along the metal's outer edge. Lily drew a quick breath. "That's the scar." Vanessa looked at the sealed pouch. The same mark curved beside the engraved name M. Reed. "Scratches happen," Claire said. "Especially on old metal." Marcus nodded once. "They do." He did not reach for the phone. He did not mention the water, the broken glass, or the weight of a child against his chest. He asked only, "Why are both marks on the same edge at the same angle?" No one answered. The hum of the monitors filled the silence. On one screen, guests crossed the lobby beneath the chandeliers, their movements small and soundless. Nolan photographed the metal serial number through the pouch and entered it into a federal verification portal. The loading icon turned for several seconds before a record appeared. The medal was authentic. It had been issued after Hurricane Rowan to a member of a Coast Guard rescue unit. The recipient's full name was hidden behind an archived personnel request. Claire recovered first. That proves the object is real. It does not prove it belongs to him. Caleb's head lifted. His name is on it. Names can be engraved later. Marcus placed a hand over the boy's folded essay before Caleb could answer. Let the record speak, he said. Vanessa studied him. If this is yours, why did you never contact us? I did not know who you were. The rescue was reported. So were hundreds of flooded homes. His voice stayed level. People needed dry clothes, medicine, and somewhere to sleep. Finding the wealthiest family from the storm was not part of the work. Something shifted in Vanessa's face, but it was not trust yet. It was discomfort, the first crack in the story she had accepted in the lobby. She opened another image from the hospital. Lily, 2 years old, slept beneath a silver emergency blanket. The lighthouse bracelet lay on the sheet with its left clasp broken. Marcus looked away before memory could reach his face. Claire saw the movement. Recognition is not identification, she said. Mr. Reed could have seen these details in the archived hotel files. Vanessa turned toward her. What hotel files? Claire's smile paused. The storm relief records. I did not say I was checking storm relief records. I assumed. You said those files were destroyed during the flood archive transfer, Nolan added. Claire's eyes moved to him too quickly. Before she could answer, a young maintenance technician appeared at the open door, holding a yellowed repair receipt inside a clear sleeve. Ms. Whitmore, we found this behind the service elevator control panel. Claire stepped toward him. That belongs to facilities. Marcus saw the torn bottom edge before she blocked it from view. A red inspection stamp had been ripped through the signature line, but the date remained clear, 3 weeks earlier. And beside it was the code E47. From beyond the security room wall came 3 uneven metallic knocks from the service elevator. Marcus turned toward the sound, and the repair receipt trembled once in the technician's hand. The repair receipt trembled once in the technician's hand as the 3 uneven knocks came through the wall. Marcus turned toward the service elevator. Do not open those doors. Claire's expression stayed smooth. Mr. Reed, facilities will handle it. Then ask facilities what made that 3rd knock. The young technician, Daniel Ortiz, stopped halfway into the room. The air conditioning hummed above them, suddenly loud in the silence. Vanessa lowered her phone and placed it beside the photograph of the scratched metal. Show me the receipt, she said. Claire reached for the clear sleeve. I can review it privately and brief you after the gala. I asked to see the original. Vanessa did not raise her voice, but Claire's hand slowed before touching the plastic. Daniel placed the receipt on the table. The code E47 sat beside a handwritten note about intermittent brake synchronization. Below it, a line claimed that a replacement assembly had been installed 3 weeks earlier, though the signature and approval stamp had been torn away. Marcus read only what was visible. He did not touch the document. Is the service car carrying anyone? He asked. It is empty, Daniel said. The children's performance group uses it in 20 minutes. Claire straightened the cuff of her cream jacket. Which is why we should not create unnecessary concern. The elevator passed inspection. Marcus looked through the security room window toward the gray doors. Then an empty test will cost you 2 minutes. You are not authorized to diagnose hotel equipment. Authorize him, Vanessa said to Daniel. Not to repair it. To show us what he heard. Claire's smile tightened by a fraction. Marcus walked into the corridor with Caleb beside him. The boy stayed close enough that his sleeve brushed his father's hand. Guests near the lobby entrance watched from behind champagne glasses, while Nolan cleared a small space around the elevator. Marcus crouched near the threshold and studied the narrow seam between the cabin floor and the marble landing. The gap on the left was slightly wider. He removed Caleb's water bottle from his canvas bag, drank enough to leave it half full, then set it upright in the center of the empty cabin. That is your test? Claire asked. Part of it. A bottle cannot certify an elevator. Neither can a sticker covering an older sticker. Evelyn lowered her mop handle against the wall. A chair leg stopped scraping somewhere near the reception desk. Even the piano in the ballroom seemed farther away. Daniel used his service key to send the empty cabin up one floor and back down. For several seconds, nothing happened. Claire looked toward Vanessa as if the silence had proven her point. Then the elevator returned with a dull metallic shudder. The doors opened. The bottle slid slowly across the floor, touched the left wall, and fell on its side. Water rolled beneath the cap in a slanted line. Caleb released a breath he had been holding. "The floor is leaning," he whispered. Marcus nodded. "The car is stopping out of level." Daniel stepped into the cabin with a digital gauge. His face changed as the reading settled. 7/16 low on the left. Claire folded her arms. "That can happen during normal load adjustment." "There is no load," Marcus said. Daniel opened the diagnostic panel. A small screen flickered amber, then displayed E47 beside a secondary brake warning. Nolan stopped writing. Vanessa looked from the code to the repair receipt. Claire spoke too quickly. "E47 does not affect the upper brake." Daniel turned his head. "I did not say which brake it affected." For the first time, Claire's professional smile disappeared completely. It returned almost at once. "I have heard facilities discuss several codes. That is all." Marcus could have pressed her. Instead, he stepped between the open cabin and a group of children being led toward the corridor by a stage assistant. "Please use the main elevators or the stairs," he said. The assistant looked to Claire for permission. "The schedule is already behind," Claire replied. Marcus kept his voice low. "A schedule can wait without fear. A child inside that car may not." Vanessa watched the smallest girl clutch the assistant's hand. Then she turned to Nolan. "Lock this elevator out of service. Preserve the camera footage, the diagnostic history, and every version of that repair receipt." She sent a message to her chief counsel and requested the original maintenance invoice, the contractor's license, and the serial number of the installed brake assembly. Claire gave a restrained nod. "Of course, we will follow procedure." "No," Vanessa said. "We will preserve evidence." Daniel removed the access panel below the controls. Behind a bundle of gray wiring, he found a metal component whose serial number did not match the number printed on the invoice. The supposed new brake assembly was a refurbished unit. Marcus noticed Caleb's shoulders loosen as Vanessa ordered his invitation record restored pending the audit, though the boy still kept the folded essay against his chest. Marcus did not ask for an apology. He lifted the fallen water bottle, wiped the wet floor with paper towels, and checked that no child stepped near the open panel. Daniel reached deeper into the compartment to photograph the mismatched serial number. His fingers struck a small black box secured behind the wiring. A red light blinked on its face. "That is not part of the elevator controller," he said. Marcus leaned close enough to hear a faint voice beneath the static still, playing from its tiny speaker, and Claire quietly stepped backward when the recording repeated the words, "Keep the service car running until the donors are upstairs." The black box repeated the sentence through a wash of static. "Keep the service car running until the donors are upstairs." Daniel Ortiz stopped breathing for a moment. Vanessa's phone lowered slowly to her side. Claire reached toward the open panel. "That device contains internal maintenance communications." "Then do not touch it," Marcus said. "Not until someone outside this hotel makes a copy." Claire turned to Vanessa with her professional smile restored, though a pulse moved visibly beneath her jaw. "This can be handled privately. We should not let an incomplete recording create the wrong impression." Marcus looked at the children waiting near the corridor, then at the red warning light blinking behind the wires. "An incomplete recording is why you preserve it, not why you bury it." Vanessa ordered Nolan to seal the panel and told Daniel to duplicate the audio onto an external drive. She also directed her chief counsel to send the files to an independent elevator inspector beyond the hotel network. Claire's fingers tightened around her phone before she slipped it into her jacket pocket. The printer inside the security office began releasing pages one at a time. First came the original service log. E47 had appeared twice in the previous month. Both entries had been downgraded from immediate shutdown to monitor during operation. The second page showed an invoice for a new secondary brake assembly. Daniel placed the refurbished component's serial number beside the invoice number. They did not match. The third page showed Claire's performance agreement. A large part of her annual bonus depended on the gala proceeding without a major service interruption. Vanessa read the clause twice. "This is not proof she ordered unsafe equipment used," she said. Her words were careful, directed as much toward herself as anyone else.
No, Marcus replied.
But it tells you what she stood to lose if the truth reached the ballroom. Claire's face changed only at the corners of her mouth. Mr. Reed is making accusations based on documents he does not understand. Then let the inspector explain them. He did not raise his voice. He did not use the recording to humiliate her before the guests still gathering beyond the glass wall. Instead, he asked Vanessa to move the children's performance route away from the service corridor and to protect Daniel from retaliation for preserving the log. Vanessa gave both orders immediately. Her phone vibrated against the table. The Coast Guard archive had responded. A scanned personnel record opened beneath the cold fluorescent light. The metal serial number belonged to Marcus Elijah Reed, assigned to the rescue team that responded during Hurricane Rowan. Beneath his name was a summary of the operation. 1 adult woman and 1 two-year-old girl removed from a submerged sport utility vehicle after the rear door jammed. Vanessa sat down. The chair made a small sound against the tile. Then the room became still. A second attachment contained the old emergency recording. Wind tore across the microphone. Water struck metal. A woman screamed Lily's name. Then Marcus's younger voice emerged through the distortion. "Keep your eyes on me. I won't let the water take her." Lily pressed the lighthouse bracelet against her chest. Vanessa stared at Marcus as if the room had shifted several inches beneath her feet. "That was you." Marcus looked toward Caleb before answering. "Yes. You knew who I was when you came here? I knew your last name was on the building. I did not know you were the woman in that vehicle." Another file arrived from the hospital archive. It listed Lily's broken left bracelet clasp among the personal effects recorded at admission. Vanessa touched the exact break with one finger. Her eyes filled, but Marcus did not step closer. This was not the moment to collect gratitude from someone whose system still held his son's name under review. "You saved my daughter," she said. Marcus glanced through the glass at the locked elevator. "Then save the next child before you thank me." Vanessa's expression hardened. Not against him, but against the room she had trusted. She ordered Caleb's invitation restored, all safety complaints preserved, and every employee who had reported the elevator protected in writing. Claire interrupted. "Vanessa, donors are already asking questions. We should finish this after the event." It was the first time she had used Vanessa's first name in front of staff. Nolan noticed. So did Marcus. Daniel recovered more data from the maintenance system. The pattern extended beyond one invoice. 3 inspection entries had been edited after submission, 2 photographs of damaged parts were missing, and an employee complaint had been reassigned to a closed file marked customer inconvenience. Vanessa looked at Claire. "How many people knew?" "I cannot answer while everyone is speculating." A bead of sweat appeared near Claire's hairline. She wiped it away and glanced toward the nearest security camera. Nolan checked the lobby footage to confirm when Caleb's invitation had been changed. The video jumped abruptly from 7:41 to 7:53. Exactly 12 minutes were gone. The 12 minutes containing the green scan, the confiscated bag, and Claire's first call from facilities. "System error," Claire said immediately. Nolan did not answer. His hand had moved toward the body camera clipped to his chest. A small blue light still blinked beneath the lens. He looked at Marcus, then at Vanessa, understanding that the missing 12 minutes had never truly disappeared. Beyond the security room glass, the ballroom doors opened and hundreds of guests turned toward the lobby, just as Nolan whispered. "My camera was recording the entire time." The ballroom doors stood open behind Vanessa, spilling gold light across the same marble floor where Marcus's medal had fallen. Donors, board members, hotel employees, and gala guests gathered in a quiet half-circle around the reception desk, their champagne glasses held lower now. Marcus stood beside Caleb without looking like a man arriving for victory. His white shirt was creased, one cuff still damp, and the old canvas bag hung lighter without the medal Claire had sealed away. Caleb held the folded essay against his chest while Marcus kept one hand near his shoulder, close enough to remind him he was not alone. Claire stepped forward before Vanessa could speak. "We have experienced a security misunderstanding." "My invitation turned green," Caleb said. "The system was still reviewing it." "You changed it." Claire offered him a sympathetic smile, the kind adults used when they wanted a child's memory to sound unreliable. Behind her, the lobby screens displayed a paused security clip of Marcus standing in front of the service elevator. The video began after the medal had fallen, after Caleb's invitation had been scanned, and after Claire had taken the canvas bag. In the shortened version, Marcus appeared to be blocking hotel operations while staff tried to move guests around him. A few donors exchanged uneasy looks. One board member whispered that perhaps the entire incident had been exaggerated. Claire let the thought settle before continuing. "Mr. Reed possesses an authentic rescue medal, and we respect his past service. But past service does not authorize a guest to interfere with hotel equipment or approach the CEO's daughter during a private medical matter." For several seconds, it seemed the polished explanation might hold. It gave everyone a comfortable way to believe there had been no discrimination, only confusion. Marcus looked at the frozen image on the screen. "Show the time." Claire's shoulders barely moved. "The footage is already time-stamped. Show the minute before it starts." Vanessa turned toward Nolan. He entered a command, and a row of numbers appeared beneath the video. The clip ended at 7:41, then resumed at 7:53. 12 minutes were missing. The murmur in the lobby thinned. Claire folded her hands. A routine camera reset occurred during that interval. "At the same time my son disappeared from the list?" Marcus asked. His voice remained low. "At the same time my bag was taken? At the same time facilities called you?" Claire looked toward Vanessa instead of answering him. This is exactly why partial technical information should not be discussed before an internal review. Marcus placed his palm over Caleb's folded essay as the boy's fingers tightened. "I am not asking for revenge," he said. "I am asking that the truth not be buried for a second time." Vanessa remained beside the ballroom entrance, still and watchful. She had the authority to end the confrontation with one sentence, but she did not use it. "Nolan," she said, "play what your camera recorded." Nolan's face tightened. He removed the body camera from his uniform and connected it to the lobby system. "Before this plays, I need to state that I followed an instruction I should have questioned." The screen flickered. First came the sound of the invitation scanner. A green light filled the corner of the image. Caleb's name appeared beside a award recipient. Then Claire's hand entered the frame and typed her management code. The status changed to review required. The room grew still enough for the soft piano inside the ballroom to be heard between each recorded word. "Keep the boy outside until we confirm an appropriate guardian," Claire's voice said through the speaker. The video continued. It showed her taking Marcus's bag, the medal striking the floor, and Lily running to retrieve it. It also captured Claire stepping aside to answer a call from Daniel. "The service car is showing E47 again," his voice said faintly. Claire turned away from the guests. "Keep it moving until the donors are upstairs." Claire's face lost color, but she recovered quickly. "That statement has been removed from context. I was referring to passenger flow, not mechanical safety." Nolan paused the recording. "Then why did you say the service car?" Marcus asked. Claire opened her mouth, but Vanessa lifted one finger. Nolan resumed the footage. Claire's voice returned, clearer this time. "Do not post the shutdown notice until after the children's performance." The ballroom seemed to contract around the sentence. Vanessa looked toward the corridor where Lily and 6 young performers had been waiting with a stage assistant. Where are the children now? Claire glanced at the service doors. It was only a moment, but Marcus saw it. So did Nolan. Vanessa moved toward her. Claire, where are they? A warning bell answered from beyond the wall. The service elevator display flashed between floors, then went dark. Daniel's voice burst through Nolan's radio. The lockout was overridden. The car is occupied. Caleb reached for Marcus's hand. From the elevator intercom came a child's frightened breathing, followed by Lily's small voice saying, "Mr. Marcus, the floor is leaning." The final words from Nolan's body camera recording were still hanging over the lobby when Lily's voice came through the elevator intercom. "Mr. Marcus, the floor is leaning." Marcus reached the service doors before anyone else moved. "Call the fire department. Notify the state elevator inspector. Nobody touches the power without Daniel." He dropped to one knee beside the control panel, listening to the strained hum behind the wall while Daniel read the floor position from the diagnostic screen. The cabin was trapped between levels, its secondary brake catching and releasing in short, uneven pulses. Claire stood beneath the ballroom lights with one hand pressed against her throat. The override was only supposed to move them one floor. Vanessa turned toward her. "You knew the lockout had been overridden?" Claire's lips parted, but the warning bell sounded again, swallowing whatever answer she had prepared. Marcus opened his canvas bag and removed a length of rescue webbing, then stopped Nolan from forcing the doors. "Not yet. If the cabin shifts, they lose the little balance they have." He spoke through the intercom instead. "Lily, find 4 buttons on the stage assistant's shirt." A breath crackled through the speaker. "I see them." "Good." Everyone looks at those buttons. For slow breaths. Caleb stood behind Evelyn with both hands around his folded essay, watching his father work without calling attention to himself. Outside, sirens rose through the glass doors. Firefighters entered carrying hydraulic tools, and Marcus gave the captain the diagnostic details before stepping back into the role of a trained assistant, rather than pretending he could perform the rescue alone. Together, they isolated the power, secured the cabin from above, and lowered it inch by inch until the floor aligned with the landing. The doors opened onto darkness, frightened faces, and Lily kneeling beside a younger child. Marcus helped the smallest children out first. Lily came last. Her knees shook when her shoes touched marble, but she did not cry until Vanessa pulled her close. Then Lily reached over her mother's shoulder and placed Marcus's medal into his open hand. "You came back," she whispered. Marcus closed his fingers around the scratched metal. Children should never have to wonder if an adult will. 20 minutes later, the crystal ballroom no longer looked like a gala. Champagne had gone untouched. The orchestra had stopped. On the projection screen, Vanessa displayed the evidence in the order it had been preserved. Caleb's valid invitation and the audit entry showing Claire changed it. Nolan's continuous body camera footage, the E47 service logs, the torn repair receipt, the mismatched brake serial number, and the maintenance recording in which Claire identified herself before ordering the warning downgraded. Claire's pen slipped from her hand and struck the floor. No one bent to retrieve it. Then the Coast Guard file appeared. Marcus Elijah Reed. Hurricane Rowan. Rescue Unit Assignment. The room heard the old emergency recording. Water battering metal. Vanessa screaming for her daughter. Marcus's voice cutting through the storm. "Keep your eyes on me. I won't let the water take her." Vanessa placed the hospital photograph beside the medal under a document camera. The half-moon scratch matched. So did the date, serial number, broken lighthouse bracelet, and archived medical record. There was nowhere left for coincidence to hide. Vanessa stepped to the microphone. Her face held none of the polished certainty she had worn in the lobby. "Marcus Elijah Reed saved my daughter and me 8 years ago. Tonight, after I allowed him and his son to be treated as if they did not belong here, he protected 7 children from a danger my own leadership failed to stop." She looked toward Caleb. Caleb Reed was a verified award recipient. His name was deliberately removed. His father's bag was taken without cause. I witnessed it, and I did not ask the questions my position required me to ask. The ballroom went silent. The projector fan became audible. Somewhere near the rear wall, ice settled inside a glass. Marcus walked to the podium, set the medal beside the microphone, and brought Caleb up with him. He did not look toward Claire when Hotel Council placed her on immediate suspension and ordered her access badge surrendered. He did not smile when Vanessa announced that the records had been transferred to state inspectors and labor investigators. He only unfolded Caleb's damaged essay and smoothed the crease splitting the word bravest. Vanessa held out a check and offered Marcus a permanent place as the public face of the hotel's safety campaign. Marcus looked past her toward Evelyn, Daniel, and the other employees standing along the wall. "Truth is not a favor you give the person who proves you wrong," he said. "It is protection you owe the people who may never have a medal." Then he pushed the check gently back across the podium and prepared to tell the most powerful people in the room what real repair would require. The guests left the crystal ballroom more quietly than they had entered it. Chairs scraped softly across the carpet. Untouched glasses stood beneath dimmed chandeliers, and Claire Hargrove was escorted to a private office where Hotel Council collected her access badge, phone, and management card for the state investigation. Vanessa did not allow anyone to call the night a misunderstanding. Caleb's name was restored to the award record before the ballroom screen was turned off, and a fresh copy of his essay was placed on the podium beside Marcus's scratched medal. "You still want to read?" Marcus asked. Caleb looked toward the rows of adults who had watched his name disappear, then toward Lily sitting safely beside her mother. "I want them to hear it right." Marcus smoothed his son's collar and stepped away from the microphone. Caleb's voice shook on the first sentence, but it grew steadier as he continued. "My father is brave because he does what is right before anyone promises to remember his name." Lily began clapping first. Evelyn followed, still wearing Marcus's navy work jacket around her shoulders. Then Daniel, Nolan, the hotel employees, and finally the donors rose, not because Marcus had demanded recognition, but because a 9-year-old had named the quality they had failed to see. Marcus did not lift the medal. He watched his son finish. Afterward, Vanessa asked Marcus to meet with the board, while investigators sealed the maintenance office and copied the elevator records. The check she had offered remained untouched on the table. Marcus placed 3 sheets of hotel stationery beside it. "An independent safety and discrimination audit," he said. "Public results. And a training program for the people who are expected to protect everyone while having the least power to speak." A board member asked whether a private settlement would be simpler. Marcus looked through the glass wall at employees gathering their belongings after midnight. Simpler for whom? No one answered. Vanessa accepted all 3 conditions. Claire's employment was terminated after investigators confirmed she had altered safety classifications, overridden the lockout, manipulated Caleb's access status, and attempted to control missing footage. The records were sent to the state elevator inspector and the labor department. Nolan received a suspension for following an improper order, but his decision to preserve the body camera footage was entered into the final report. When he apologized to Marcus, Marcus did not absolve him. "The next time a rule asks you to stop seeing a person," he said, "stop the rule first." 6 months later, the Whitmore Crown Hotel no longer allowed one manager to remove a guest, alter a maintenance priority, or override a safety lock without a second authorization and a permanent audit trail. The inspection results were posted where employees and guests could read them. Evelyn became part of an independent worker safety council. Daniel received whistleblower protection and was promoted through an open review process, not as a favor. The new community program was named the Open Door Safety Initiative. It trained hotel workers, single parents, school employees, and teenagers in emergency response, equipment reporting, and the right to refuse unsafe instructions. Marcus agreed to serve as a temporary safety advisor, but only under a public contract that prevented the hotel from using his face in advertisements. His old canvas bag sat beside him at the first training session, its worn strap repaired by Caleb with navy thread. The medal was displayed in a simple glass case near the classroom entrance, next to Caleb's essay and Lily's drawing of a lighthouse. It no longer looked like proof that Marcus deserved respect. It looked like proof that respect should never have required a medal. Vanessa attended every monthly review without asking Marcus to forgive her. She listened when employees described the way polished rules could hide old prejudices, and she published the audit even when its findings cost the hotel 2 major sponsors. Lily and Caleb became friends in the ordinary way children should, through school projects, jokes, and arguments about board games, not as witnesses responsible for repairing the failures of adults. On the final day of the 6-month program, Vanessa entered the training room without assistants or cameras. She carried 2 cups of coffee and the completed public report. "Everything continues whether you stay or not," she told Marcus. "It should," he said. She placed the report beside his toolbox and waited without asking for anything else. Marcus read the last page, then closed the folder. Across the room, Caleb helped Lily fasten the repaired clasp on her lighthouse bracelet. Evelyn folded the navy jacket and returned it to Marcus, clean and warm. For a few seconds, no one spoke. It was not the silence of a room stunned by a hidden hero. It was the quieter silence of people understanding that the man they had once sent to the back door had never needed their permission to stand tall. Marcus moved the empty chair beside him a few inches. Vanessa looked at him, but she did not sit until he gave a small nod. Outside the glass doors, the service elevator opened with a soft, level chime and dignity. Patient, unannounced, and impossible to erase. Finally had a door no one could close.